Your New Year's resolutions have set you up to fail. You made them a long time ago, you fell off, and now you're on the verge of coasting through the holidays, writing this year off, to then do the same thing over again when you promise yourself in January you're going to get serious. There's a trend I saw on social media recently called the Great Lock-In.
The Great Lock-In of 2025 is here.
Or the Great Lock-In of 2025.
It means it's time for the Great Lock-In.
The start of the Great Lock-In.
Basically, the idea is that you can't write these last few months of the year off. You got to double down on your goals. Don't wait. Don't push stuff off. Start now and let that new momentum carry you into January. This video is sponsored by BetterHelp. Look, what we talked about here is bettering yourself mentally and physically. I'm all about that. It's something I work on in my own life. But it's not just what you do in the gym. It's not just what you read. It's also who you're talking to. Just like you would hire a trainer to take your exercise to the next level, just like you need a mentor in your professional life, if you want to take your mental work to the next level, talking to a therapist might be right for you. Therapy's been a great tool in my life, particularly virtual therapy, because I don't want to drive all the way into Austin to do an appointment. I want to do it on the phone so I can spend my time actually in the therapy session, not, hours driving, finding parking, and all of that stuff. And it's helped me be a better parent, a better husband, and a better entrepreneur. BetterHelp is on a mission to make starting therapy easier. You just fill out a questionnaire. They match you with a therapist in as little as a couple of days. And you can switch therapists at any time and no extra cost if it's not the right fit. With over 7,000 reviews and a 4.3 rating on Trustpilot, BetterHelp is a platform you can trust. Just click the link in the description or go to betterhelp.com/dailysoap to get 10% off your first month of therapy. One of the things I talk about in The Obstacle is the way is this idea of the process. If you've ever spent time around elite sports teams, whether it's college football or professional basketball, you hear them talk about this idea of the process.
We decided to use the approach that we were not going to focus on the outcome, that we were just going to focus on the process of what it took to play the best football you could play, which was to focus on that particular play like it had a history and a life of its own.
Nick Saban, the legendary coach at Alabama, talked about it the most. He was saying, don't focus on the end of the season. Don't focus on the playoffs.
Don't look at the scoreboard. Don't look at any other external factors. Just all your focus, all your concentration, all your effort, all your toughness, all your discipline to execute went into that particular play. And regardless of what happened on that play, success or failure, you would move on to the next play and have the same focus to do that on the next play. And that you would do that for 60 minutes in the game. And then you would be able to live with the results regardless of what those results were.
What is your job in this moment, in this play? That's where your attention has to be focused. Carl Jung talked about the next right thing. That's the process. What is the next right thing? Most of us are trying to do too much. We set what they call big, hairy, audacious goals, right? They want to lose 100 pounds, write a best-selling book, build a business so they can quit their job. They set these goals, which are inspiring and exciting to think about, but then they almost immediately get overwhelmed by the sheer scale of what they're trying to accomplish. And then they end up giving up, or they quit, or they tell themselves it was impossible and they were stupid to even try. And I think what the process does is it flips that script. You got to break these big goals, the person you want to be in the future, down into these small, manageable steps.
I am on day 3 of my next book. Let's see how many words I have. I am at 1,200 words, which doesn't seem like a lot, and it's not. But I know that basically this full book will probably be that 75 more times. If I show up every day, if I just show up every day and do a word count like that, in a few months, I will have a finished manuscript.
I didn't say I will have a publishable manuscript. I didn't say I would have a bestseller. I would say I would have the first step in getting towards those things. Epictetus says, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do, piece by piece. You take where you want to go, who you want to be, and then you begin to break it down. As a parent, it's not, I want to have the perfect day tomorrow. You go, hey, I want to win the morning. If you're trying to lose weight,
Maybe you're thinking about one meal. Again, as a writer, it's not the finished manuscript. I'm breaking this book down into its composite parts. I've got an intro, a conclusion, how many chapters in the middle, how long is each chapter, what is the opening of this chapter, right? I'm breaking it down into small, manageable pieces. Now, breaking it down into small pieces only works as a strategy if you couple that with the day-to-day discipline of showing up and doing that work. I think that's the critical part of what Epictetus is telling us. First, you say what you want to be, you break it down in those pieces, and then you do what you have to do. What is Marcus Aurelius open Meditations book 5 with? He says, at dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being, right? He says, but I want to huddle under the blankets. It's warmer here. He says, you were born to feel nice instead of doing things and experiencing them. He says, don't you see the plants and the birds and the ants and the spiders and the bees going about their individual tasks, putting the world in order as best they can? Why aren't you running to do what your nature demands? So that's the consistency. That's the day-to-dayness. A writer once defined all of Epictetus's thinking, all of his teachings about this virtue of discipline as 2 words: persist and resist. Do what you need to do. Don't do what you shouldn't do. Simple, but not easy. And then, of course, I think the other critical part of Stoicism is this reflection process. That's what Marcus is doing in Meditations. He's set the intention of who he wants to be. He's trying to do that day to day. And then he is reflecting on it. Meditations is his private journal. Seneca talks about how every night when his wife would go to sleep, he'd sit down and he'd put the day up for review. What could he have done better? Where did he fall short? What was he proud of? What did he want to do more of? And so this loop of focusing on what's in front of you, adding the discipline and the commitment and the routine to it, and then the reflective process where we fine-tune and tighten and improve. This is a feedback loop that helps us get better and better. It starts with these small, unsexy steps, but it is by no means a small thing. It would just mean so much if you could pre-order the new book, Wisdom Takes Work. This is the 4th and final book in the Stoic Virtue series, which I've been working on since 2019. There was Courage is Calling, Discipline is Destiny, Right Thing Right Now, and now this is the final book, Wisdom Takes Work. I know it's kind of a pain in the ass to pre-order. I get it. So I try to make it really interesting. I've got a bunch of awesome bonuses for you. I'll send you the intro to the book right now. You can get a playlist of songs that I listened to while I was writing it. You can get a bunch of bonus chapters that aren't in the book. You can get signed, numbered first editions. You can even have dinner with me at the Painted Porch. Got a bunch of awesome stuff. Just go to dailystoic.com/wisdom.